Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Whose Life Is It Anyway? According to me, Miss Ann. Um, the first edition is a focus on starting over. Starting over in anything. Divorce, career, new boyfriend, new husband, new move. All of those things are the starting over process. I started over almost about a year ago. I've been divorced 3 years and I moved to a new city and I decided to start over. And let me just say, the happiness process is so hard. Not because you don't identify what happy is, it's because the old happy isn't the new happy. And I have to say, everything becomes something in the starting over process. I recently moved from a bigger city to a smaller city. And let me just say, it didn't take me long to adjust to the new city, but when I go back to the old city, the congestion of it drives me absolutely insane. However, in the new city, where I've decided to dissolve all things possible, like erase all of the things from the old city, was a little harder than I anticipated. So I have to say, I'm curious as to know, what is a starting over process for you? New wardrobe, new clothes, new shoes, all of those things are always required when you start over. I had to start over with all of those things because I moved from a city where it was hot all the time, in Florida, to where I came to Charlotte, where there was actually seasons. And so I had to do all of that. And all of those things were easier for me. The thing that I found hardest was career, because wanted to ditch that almost immediately when I got here. So this first segment is all about who's ditching the old career for the new career, and what are you doing to ditch it. I worked retail for most of my life, about 20 years. I worked retail right out of high school. I fell madly in love with it. You adjust to the hours very quickly after that second or third year. You get used to the crazy hours. You get used to the holidays. You get used to all those things. I worked it for 20 years. In the 20 years, I took a pause to be a stay-at-home mom, where unfortunately, like most of us, my resume dried completely up. And then when I got back to work, after my kids got older, before I divorced, I instantly ran into a problem that a lot of women who've stayed at home, a lot of women who have put their life on pause, we found out very quickly that technology has advanced everywhere. Now, I've always been technology savvy, so that's never an issue for me. However, the advancement of retail, what retail has become, and the younger movement of young women and men who've come into the workforce, I found out very quickly have dominated all of that. So the 20 years that I put in of retail planning, of merchandising, management, and all those things, I still felt like a little antiquated. So in this, it's all about ditching and getting a new career. When you start over fresh, when the marriage is dissolved, when the phone has stopped ringing, when everything has stopped, what are you doing going forward? Are you trying to go back to work? Are you trying to reinvent yourself? Are you trying to build a business? All those things are coming at you at one time. I personally feel like I'm a little bit in a sweet spot, only because I have about 2 or 3 months in this spot to decide if I want to really keep going forward and working for somebody else, or if I want to take the little education I have. Well, I won't say little. I have some education, technical education. The technology education I've acquired over the years, working in retail, and I've learned on my own, and just life skills that I can build upon, using the gifts God has given me, or the passion, which I'm starting to see as I get older, is two very, very, very different things. So I'm curious to know, in the going forward, like, I would work on jobs. Like, I knew it was time for me to go. The last 2 to 3 years, I would work on jobs. And even though I was managing, I really spent 50% of the time, like, really trying to lead and uplift employees. And I thought, I don't really know if this is the job. This is the job I'm doing. I don't know if that's the job. However, like, I had started to really come committed to the young girls finishing college. Like, what are we doing this week? Like, who has exams? Who needs the schedule change? Like, I was going hard. Like, I know we're here to do this job, but I really, 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 I always called them, my girls. I look younger than I am, but I wanted my girls. I always call them my girls. At the various locations I've worked different brands and locations, but I wanted them to understand that for some of you all, this is a temporary pass through, and don't dissolve all of your life for this. There has to be a work-life balance. And I don't think I knew that the first 10 to 15 years. I worked retail like a slave. So by the time that I walked away from it, even though I had acquired a lot of skills, I didn't have the energy to take along with me, because I literally burnt myself to a crisp. So in this segment, in the starting over, like, what are you doing to run with the pack, run with the wolves? Are you redesigning yourself as a person, as a woman? Are you starting anew with your kids? I do think one of the biggest mistakes women and men make when they're parting ways from long-term relationships and divorce and moving on is the first thing they do is go run and jump into a new relationship because they think that that's the solution. I didn't do that. I've had mixed reviews because I didn't do it. I've had a lot of people tell me that now I look really comfortable, so you're not going to have a relationship. Or when I finally did decide to go out and date, I have to say, dating disastrous 101, all that you can think of. But I think that I've always been a little bit more career oriented. Even when I was at home with my kids, I had other stuff that I did to keep my mind working and to keep me in the loop and in the now and educating myself. I have a full specialist certification in cosmetology that I used alternatively. And a lot of women that I went to school with did skincare and makeup, and I can do all those things. However, I gravitated more into sales, brandings, and product. So I've always been really good at those things. However, I just turned 40. I was super excited about turning 40, and then 40 happened, and then it was just like, okay, and what now? Like something magical was supposed to happen. So, and then it didn't happen, and then it didn't happen because I had to realize that I had to create the magic that was supposed to happen. But I'm in a sweet spot, and moving into this sweet spot is what now? Like, whose life is it anyway? Like, this is your life. What are you going to do going forward? What's the turn? Is this really what you want to do? Do you have 30 years to commit to a company? Are you flexible enough to do what they're asking? Are you wanting to do what they're asking? And are you willing to put in the work of what it takes? So this is where I am. I would love to hear other people's journey, as I'm going to take this on as my journey. I already know what my gift is. I knew what my gift was at 25. I'm one of those lucky people that knew what my gift was at 25. However, God did not give me like a benchmark. He didn't say, here, I know you got this gift. This is what I want you to do with it. And, be fully committed to it. And, there was not that. I knew early on what my gift was. What I didn't get was, in order to fulfill the gift, you have to move about the journey. And it wasn't until the last 2 or 3 years where I really started to hone into the gift of leading and leadership and writing and education and girls and education and movement. And so, plus I have my own dreams, my own fulfillment, and it's always been a negotiation. Well, if I do that, am I going to still be able to have that? If I stay home any longer with my kids, am I going to be able to still go back and do this? If I go to school now, am I going to miss out on this? So I want to hear other dream fulfillments. I want to see other dream fulfillments. Follow me on this journey. I'm really excited about it. This is day 1, and what's going to be. And I have to say, this is the other side of happy. And on the other side of happy, what is it for you? The other side of happy for me is this: drinking tea, literally drinking tea, where I want to be on a Sunday. It is quiet magazine moments. It is not having to be responsible for somebody else's emotions, learning to be accountable for your own emotions, understanding that whatever choices that I make are mine to make, and I don't owe anybody that. That was the blessing of not jumping into another relationship after leaving a relationship, because you learn what you're not willing to do again. And when you do that, you don't get the opportunity to figure that out. That is a part of doing the work. And for someone who may be still in a relationship, but maybe just deciding, I've been working for 25 years for a company, or working for 30 years for a company, and I just really don't want to do that anymore. What now? It is deciding that if I'm going to do that, what's the plan? What's the benchmark? What's the timeline? How long do I have? And am I willing to put in the work for that? So tune in. I would love feedback. I would love to hear from other people, decisions that they've made, what they've done, and talk to you soon. Whose life is it anyway, Miss Ann?